Mindless Sanity 602, reporting to you at the Nightmare Central with date number 20's review for my fourth annual 31 Days of Horror Film Reviews. We're on day number 20, so that means that we're technically on the final stretch of this year's 31 Days of Horror Film Reviews. Officially, meaning that we have about 10 more before we get to the big dates video, and we'll be really officially once we get to I think like day number 24. That'll be the start of the final week. I'm sorry. So here we are with day number 20, and for day number 20, we're going to be discussing The Phantom of the Opera, which is a 1989 R-rated 93-minute drama horror music film from Dwight H. Little. Now this film has a few cool things about it. Some super cool thing is that this stars Robert Englund. You know who Robert Englund is? Well, he was fucking Freddy Krueger in A Nightmare on Elm Street, which is fucking awesome because Freddy Krueger is the best fucking horror icon that's been on best horror icon that's been put onto the face of the earth. I love Freddy Krueger. He's my favorite one of all the horror icons. And it also stars Dwight. It also is, like I said before, is directed by Dwight H. Little, who did Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers, which is fucking awesome. We got a fucking person who's been Freddy Krueger through the majority of the Nightmare on Elm Street films on the screen, and we have somebody who directed one of the most finest entries in the Halloween franchise with Dwight H. Little behind the screen. I think that's pretty fucking awesome. Me being a huge buff of both A Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween, that's pretty fucking sweet. So there's plenty of versions of the Phantom of the Opera. Like you have the black and white Universal version. Black and white Universal version. I think that's also a public domain. I do not know, but they did that one. I haven't seen that one in its entirety. Actually, I might have seen it. I must have seen it because it's a classic film, and I really don't remember much from it. Then they did a second version in color, which I own, and the one that's included in the Universal Essentials Blu-ray box set, which contains those. I didn't care for that version much. There's been like a few versions in the 80s. Dario Argento did one. And then like in 2004, Gerard Butler and did one, and did a version, and I attempted to watch that film. I was like 24 or 42 minutes into the film before I had to shut it off because I was bored to tears by that one. The only other version that I'm really interested in seeing is the Dario Argento version, because I fucking love Dario Argento's films, and I think Dario Argento would be a pretty fucking cool guy to see take on this subject matter. But other than that, and I know I've been saying this a few times, like I did with my Terror Train review, saying this is my favorite, but I think that this film is actually my favorite version of the Phantom of the Opera films. It's my favorite version of that story, this film. So Does that mean that's the best? Does that mean that's the best? Does that mean that the film is good? No, 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 no. That does not necessarily mean that the film. I want to make a clarification. A clarification. That does not mean that the film's good. Good. When somebody says it's their favorite, that means that they enjoy it the most out of all the versions. But I want to make that clarification just in case if somebody, just automatically blindly thinks, "Oh, this is a great movie," but I myself find this movie to be a great movie. I just feel like people need to have that clarification when people say it's their favorite in reviews. That doesn't mean they think it's good. They just think it may be the best out of all the bunch. But I think that this is the best out of the bunch, and I feel like it's a good movie. The reasons are going to be shown here. The film starts out with this girl in the modern day who gets into an accident during a Broadway play, and then we get transported to a different time and place. It's a little bit confusing. Once we get transported to a different different era, we get introduced to a cool cast of characters um, that do their job fantastically. I feel like all the actors do. I think all the actors do a really great job. Most importantly, fucking Robert Englund. I think Robert Englund brought a fucking nice little scary era to the Phantom of the Opera, the character. I think that, the way he looks, the way this film looks and feels, and just all that it just has a nice dark era to it. Like, this film, I think if you were to watch all the Phantom of the Opera films back to back, like if you gave a kid who can't get scared by a film, and not a grown up like myself, or you find like a kid who is at the point where films are scary to them. I think this version of Phantom of the Opera, and you just obtain all the Phantom of the Opera films and just decided, I'm going to let that kid be marathon the whole Phantom of the Opera films. I think from all the ones that I've seen, they will be the most terrified by this version, because Robert Englund, the way the film looks, like I said before, the way the film looks and feels, it has a very scary mood and feel to it. That will get your kid fucking terrified. I seen this version when I was a little kid actually, and it terrified the shit out of me. It scared the shit out of me. It was really fucking it's scary. So then we get to other moments of the film. Oh, by the way, Robert Englund looks so. Understand this is probably because he has a mangled kind of like Freddy face. It's understandably so. Because at the moment when this came out, and it's fucking '89, so that's at a moment when the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is at its fifth entry. Freddy's pretty much in the pop culture height, the peak of his pop culture career, pop culture icon status. So it's understandably so that they were gonna have to apply a little bit of Freddy to the Phantom. And do I have a problem with that? No. I think it's a neat little touch it's a unique touch to the Phantom the Opera, the Phantom's character in this film. It's way better than the sissy bitch boy that the Gerard Butler version had, the sissy bitch version that they had with the Phantom of the Opera version that Gerard Butler did. um, with that character. This one, you have like a just and Robert Englund does a great fucking job with the role. The film is very, very, very well made. Very well made. I like the film's tone and atmosphere. Um, I think you got it's very dark. It's very dark in moments. It's very, very dark at moments, and I said the dark moments really emphasize the dark nature of this film. Um, it's also classy. This isn't like your typical '80s slasher film version of the Phantom of the Opera, which this could easily, sure, it picked up some of the traits from like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie by having him be more like Freddy than the Phantom, but it's more it's a classier a classier film that doesn't like fall for cheap slasher tricks like it's very classy, it's very sophisticated in its performance. It's not a deep film, it's not a deep intellectual film or anything. It's not a deep intellectual film or anything. It's just very classy. It has very classy costume designs, music, and everything. I love what they did with. I love how the Phantom began. In this film. It kind of, if watching this film kind of reminds me if they made like a horror version of this came out before Sam Raimi's Darkman. This film reminds me if somebody made basically the Phantom of the Opera, I meant the Darkman and Sam Raimi's Darkman into not a hero, but into a villain. Made him into a villain because he sells his he well, in Darkman he got fucked over by some crooked criminals, but in this one the Phantom basically wants people to love him for his music, so he signs a contract that says that people will only love you for your music, but everything else they won't love you for. And he was so deep into the music, he signed the contract, which that's led to him being an evil guy. And later on in the film, it's very much a Dark Man like a scene where he fights these people who are giving him shit on the streets. I like how he kills people in this film. It's very dark. I like how Robert Englund has like a very menacing voice. He has a very menacing voice. This film is not void of problems. Like Robert Englund when he's not in his Phantom getup, when he's looking like a normal guy, it looks horrible. The face makeup doesn't look the best, but whatever. Then we get to the end of the film, where we jump back to our modern age, and she gets better. We get to see Robert come back and escort her to his apartment area where she realizes something's a little bit up, and we get to get another confrontation there before she goes off on the streets. And all in all, I fucking love this version of the Phantom of the Opera. I think this film is amazingly made. It's amazing in every aspect besides the makeup department. The makeup department needs a little bit of work. I have a lot of deep love for this film. I think it looks so good. It's just a great film. Now, as for the Blu-ray release, I think the Blu-ray release from Scream Factory Scream Factory is a, look at that, you got a great amount of extras, the packaging, that's a great looking backside. The front side is, that's some good artwork. The original DVD artwork, it looks a little bit better to me, but whatever. This is the original 1989 poster artwork. I fucking love this movie. I really fucking do. This movie has so much going for it. I give this movie my deepest of recommendations. I think if you're a horror fan, you need to watch this. This is essential viewing if you're a horror fan. I think you got Freddy Krueger as Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund as of opera. You have Dwight H. Little, Halloween 4's Dwight H. Little. Let's see if we get a clear shot of his name there. Dwight H. Little, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Dwight H. Little as the director. Got a great, unique, dark, and scary take on the Fan of the Opera thing. It isn't a piece of shit like the color version of Fan of the Opera coming from Universal. It isn't an even deeper piece of shit like the 2004 Fan of the Opera that Gerard Butler, like I said before, starred in. It's pretty fucking great. So anyways, this has been day number 20's review of my 4th annual 31 Days of Horror Film Reviews, and I shall be back in a little less than 24 hours with day number 21's. See you later. Bye.